particular religion or a theology has been spread by the dint of the sword or by converting others. So most of the neo-religions have evolved like that. That is how it has happened, and the history is rife with that. But today, the larger grey area, Sumit Peer, I will come to Jammu and Kashmir in just a bit, or even when we looked at the Kashmir Hindu exodus in 1990, it was about saying, it was about non-acceptance. It was about missia or hatred, where when a certain group became larger than the core group or the original inhabitants of that region, you said that we want you out. Either you accept our ways or you get out. So this is the exclusive nature. But when it comes to conversion, Article 25 in our constitution allows us the freedom to propagate our religion. How do you differentiate? It is like match fixing. You know something is going wrong, but it's very difficult to prove in a court of law.
I think, Anandji, the point here is when you have seen money coming in for conversion, the money has come from foreign countries, and there was a name, Bahrain and Middle East and all. Why are they interested in sending money to this Molvi here? It is very simple. It's a sinister design. I think people like ISI, people from China, and the people who are anti-India and anti-Hindu are involved here. These conversions are done to create those pockets of resistance, to create those pockets of disturbance. These conversion rackets, people were being converted in the name of jobs, in the name of dawai. Dawai is you convert to Islam and you will your all ailments will be cured. And in the process, these mullahs and mullanas make a lot of money. You right now told Maulana Saab has a lot of property, so has his son. Now the question is, who is sending the money? Why is he sending the money? Why is he interested in the business of conversion? Because that is what they want to do. In Kashmir, they have failed. Elsewhere, they have failed. Now they want to prop up those pockets wherein their will and their fancies will work. Anand, if I can be very candid on your show, we know there's a concept like Ghazwa-in. Things like that still exist. Those theocratic concepts still exist. And some people believe by doing these demographic changes by paying money and getting these agents involved, they can bring in the change. But the point here is, what is their relation with ISI? What is their relation with the Chinese Communist Party? Who is paying them crores and crores of rupees? What are they going to get? Who are paying them the money? Obviously, they have agendas, they have motives. What are those motives? These people are in the business of conversion. And there's one more revelation which I came to know, Anand, that this Maulana Saab has a house in Shaheen Bagh, F18 Shaheen Bagh. Now, this possibly explains where was the Shaheen Bagh money coming from, because Maulana Saab to khud hi Shaheen Bagh mein rehte hain. So problem to kuch thi nahi. When we were saying that time, you remember I was coming to your show and I was stuck for 3 hours and Jamia Nagar flyover. Then we were told, oh, it's an organic protest, nothing is coming, no foreigners are involved, money is not coming from anywhere, people are contributing. Now, say Maulana Saab lives in Shaheen Bagh and in Shaheen Bagh residence, and of his money was found. That answers the question.
No, not just that. When you picked up Shaheen Bagh, then the other linkage, the Hydra, you said no, multi-headed Hydra or multi-tentacled